Hello my friends, it is time for my September candle empties. Yes, we have started the month of October, and fun little fact, the day that I am uploading this video is actually my 40th birthday. Yes, yay! October 2nd is my birthday, and I'm very, very blessed to have been on this earth for 40 years now. Very, very thankful for all of the good things, bad things, and everything in between. So anyways, before we get into more of the month of October, I told you guys that last month, September, was quite busy for me. I have 3 kids and a husband, if you are new to my channel, and they are all very, very busy. They are 15, 12, and 10. I had to think about that, and they are involved in a lot of various fall activities. And what happened last month is that this is a series that I typically like to do twice a month on my channel to try to keep the videos a little bit shorter. However, I didn't even have time to film this twice last month. So you're probably going to want to grab a snack, grab a drink, settle in, because I've got quite a few candles to talk about here. As always, all of the fragrances that I am talking about today will be listed and linked with timestamps down below. If I have any dedicated reviews on a lot of these candles, which I know that I do, that video will be linked down below as well. And any discount codes or affiliate codes that I have, you can also find down there. I'm just trying to think. Some of these candles, I'm not even sure if they're still available. Some might be clearanced out, but let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get into all of the fragrances that I finished up. I'm going to go ahead and start out with a Bath & Body Works candle. Sorry, you guys, my nose, I tried filming this already and I was sneezing and now my nose is itching. And it's always right when I get to this candle. Weird. Okay, so this is Bath & Body Works Maple Pumpkin. Fragrance notes are pumpkin spice, sweet maple syrup, brown sugar, and this burned quite well for me. I will say that you're going to be able to see in here that I caught a moth just for you, Greg. My friend Greg from All About Candles, we always joke about that. And the reason why I caught a moth on this one is because I did let this candle finish out its life outside. After I did my post-burn review, I would say there was about maybe about the last third of the wax in this candle. It started to do what a lot of Bath & Body Works candles do for me, which means the burn started to slow down a little bit, and I was noticing that the fragrance was starting to get kind of that like burned sooty type of fragrance. Even though the wax didn't get particularly sooty, the fragrance started to smell kind of sooty after about an hour and a half of burning on this candle. And quite frankly, I don't like to have to babysit my candles like that. And I did decide to go ahead and put it outside. Up until that point, it was a very solid performer. Is it backup worthy for me? No. I didn't really detect a whole lot of pumpkin in here. This is very much just a maple syrup type of fragrance. I liked pairing it with the pumpkin pecan waffles fragrance, but again, it wasn't backup worthy for me, so it is a one and done. While we're talking about kind of maple breakfast type of fragrances, I'm going to go ahead and pull out these two because it's the same fragrance. I did finish burning 2 banana maple pancakes from HOMEWORX. I do believe that this is now maybe in the sales section on the Slatkin & Co. website. Is it? I think it is. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of a different fragrance. Okay, don't quote me on that. Fragrance notes on this are mashed bananas, whipped milk, melted butter, vanilla extract, fluffy pancakes. Mine has a pour date of May 8th, 2023. And this fragrance, you can see, burned well all the way down. I would say this is probably one of my, it's hard with HOMEWORX because there's so many fragrances that I like, but I would say that this is probably one of my top 15 HOMEWORX fragrances of all time. Definitely one of my top gourmand fragrances. I love this scent. It's a great summer to fall transitional scent for me because I still get a little bit of that banana. You do detect maple, but again, the maple in this is not as straight up maple syrup as, say, that maple pumpkin scent. It's just such a good, cozy gourmand fragrance. Strength and throw was very solid on this one for me, and I definitely see myself probably repurchasing this again in the future. I don't see myself burning it, picking one up and then burning it again this fall, but it is a fragrance that I do like to keep in my collection because it is one of my favorites. I'm kind of going back and forth here. I have like a box here, a box over here. So another fragrance that I finished burning from Bath & Body Works is Autumn Chai. I did upload a post-burn review on this last week. Fragrance notes of cinnamon chai, French vanilla froth, and smooth caramel. And you can see that around the rim here, it did start to get a little bit sooty towards the end, but I love this fragrance. And I did purchase a backup of it. Now I will say the strength and throw on this was consistently, I would say maybe around like a 6.5. It's not a powerhouse fragrance. It's not one that I would put here in my open concept living room. However, I really liked pairing this with another empty that I'm gonna show you here in just a moment from Bath & Body Works, because it's just kind of like a good creamy, it's a notch up from your standard vanilla. It definitely gives more like autumnal or winter vibes to it. But it's a nice blending candle. You get some of that chai spice, but the creamy element in there kind of tones down the spiciness, I would say, that you would typically get from a chai fragrance. And like I said, it burned pretty well all the way down. Really like this scent, and I did purchase a backup of it because, like I said, it's good for this time of year, but it's also really good for the winter. So the fragrance that I actually really enjoyed pairing it with is Sweater Weather. Love Sweater Weather. This is the first year that I have actually purchased it. I've mentioned before that I've always purchased Sweater Weather in the car fragrances, and I've always liked it in my car, but for whatever reason I never purchased the candle, but this year was the year that I did it. Fragrance notes on Sweater Weather are fresh sage, juniper berries, aromatic eucalyptus, and fresh woods. I don't think I really need to describe Sweater Weather fragrance too much because you guys can walk into Bath & Body Works and smell it. It's been around for years and years. Just so fresh and vibrant and perfect for fall. I really enjoyed pairing this with the autumn chai in the evenings. It just kind of gave a really nice, kind of like cleared out the like aromas from cooking dinner, but also gave kind of like a calm, cozy vibe to my house. I just really, really like this fragrance. So I was happy to finish up another one. Let's talk about a HOMEWORX candle that I finished burning. Now, I was kind of sad that this did not make a return to Slatkin & Co. this year. This is Midnight Moon. Fragrance notes on Midnight Moon are autumn leaves, fresh pumpkin, dark woods, ginger crystals. This one had a pour date of July 9th, 2023. And I love this fragrance. This is, again, kind of in that realm of Bath & Body Works leaves, but I do feel like this is a mix of Bath & Body Works leaves mixed with, there was a fragrance called Pumpkin Woods that HOMEWORX had out a few years ago, and I feel like this is the baby of those two candles. Love this one. You get some of that like apple accord in here, but a little bit of pumpkin. I really, really love this fragrance. I bought this one. I think this was like a backup that I bought last year. It performed really well for me all the way down. Somehow I caught a little bug in this one, and I think it was because I was burning this last week and our power went out, and so I wanted some light, and I think I accidentally just like let this one burn. It was like almost to the very end of the burn, so I let it keep burning, and I don't know, there was probably just a little moth or something flying around inside of my house. But anyways, if this fragrance ever does make a return, I would repurchase it. I do like it. It is one of my favorite autumnal fragrances from HOMEWORX. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that one over there. And then another fragrance that I finished, I have a little crate here of like the Bath & Body Works crate here that I'm holding in. This is my beloved Coffee and Whiskey. This was my last one. I think that I will pick up another one probably in, I've been really intentional about trying to get my collection down. You guys will be seeing a declutter video coming up this weekend as well. But because I've been really intentional about wanting to get my candle collection, I generally like to keep it under 100 candles. I have not yet repurchased another one of these. Can any of you guys let me know how this year's Coffee and Whiskey is burning? This one I had from 2023. Fragrance notes on Coffee and Whiskey are bold Irish whiskey, splash of vanilla, hint of coffee. This is just one of my favorite fragrances. Now, the only gripe I have about this Neutral Blends collection is that they tend to burn really dirty. This one isn't as bad as other ones that I've had, but I don't like how dirty this candle burns. It's very sooty. Now, that being said, it doesn't alter the fragrance when this candle is burning. But I do like this scent. There's a sweetness to it. There's a vanilla. You get, it's not really boozy whiskey, but it is kind of like that sweet Irish whiskey that you smell in here. I really, really love this fragrance. I was burning this with, what what candle was that? The Kringle Pumpkin Spice Latte, just to add a little bit of some type of like creaminess to it. Because if you caught my review on that candle, I mentioned that I felt like it was a little bit too acidic coffee for my preferences. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and set that down real quick. But yeah, I did enjoy that candle, and I could see myself purchasing 1 or 2 more, maybe during Candle Day, or if there's another great Bath & Body Works sale that comes along, I will go ahead and purchase another. Let's talk about a candle that I have repurchased already. This is Kringle Candles Warm and Toasty. So this specific candle was sent to me in PR way back in early July when they released their fall collection. Fragrance notes on Warm and Toasty are cedar, smoke, sweet, marshmallow, amber, and sugar. I have described this as the more sophisticated take on Bath & Body Works Marshmallow Fireside. This has a little bit more of an ambery marshmallow type of fragrance. It's just more sophisticated in my opinion. Now the only thing you'll see here, this does happen sometimes with the Kringle format and these large 2-wick tumblers, that I do notice that once the burn gets, or like the flames get lower down on the wax, sometimes these vessels, this 2-wick tumbler, can act like a hurricane and can catch excess soot. It wasn't a super sooty burning candle. This one, I think, again, I did finish on the very last burn. I did have it outside because we were entertaining some company out there, and I just loved this fragrance. Now this candle I have already repurchased in the 3-wick because I do really, really like this scent. I see this one being a staple in my collection. It's very versatile with a lot of other candles. I know that a lot of the Halloween candles it goes nicely with. It pairs really nicely if you wanted to with Bath & Body Works Marshmallow Fireside, if you wanted to do that, or maybe even like Pumpkin Clove. It's a very versatile fall and winter fragrance, and definitely one that I see myself wanting to keep in my collection year in and year out, but probably more so the 3-wick. I do like the Kringle 3-wick format, but that being said, you know, it took me a couple of months to burn through this large vessel. Let's see, another Bath & Body Works candle that I finished burning is Apple Crisp. Fragrance notes on Apple Crisp are caramelized apple, cinnamon crumble, sugared oats. I really liked this fragrance. Again, I caught some more bugs on this one. You guys will find that I do kind of an odd thing when I sense that a candle is on its very, very last burn. Sometimes I don't really get much fragrance out of them because the wax pool is like, it just can't get that deep. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just stick it outside to finish up that final burn. And that is what I did end up doing with this candle. Hence you see some little bugs in there. But this was a really nice fragrance. Is it hoard worthy for me? No, it's an apple scent. I'm kind of over apple scents now that we are into the month of October. I'm probably gonna be still leaning quite heavily into pumpkin fragrances, more spicy scents, even some of those like more like spooky type of vibes, like my Palo Santo pumpkin or fragrances like that. That's probably what I'll be gravitating more towards, even some of the Kringle Halloween scents. That's probably what I will be burning more so this month. But this was a nice fragrance in the month of September. Was it anything earth-shattering? No. Like I said, I didn't need backups of it, but I did enjoy it. Strength and throw was actually pretty good on this one. I think I gave it somewhere between a 7 and an 8, and that's where I would say that this one remained throughout most of its burn life. I did like the packaging on this collection as well. The only knock I'll give is that I do feel like the wax discolored, you know, this white wax, it did discolor a little bit, especially as I burned this candle a little bit more, but I didn't have any issues with the wicks on this candle either, which I can't say that for all of my Bath & Body Works candles. I'm looking at, which one was it? My Sweater Weather. Actually, I did have to pour out a little bit of wax after the halfway point, which kind of surprised me because I've already had a Sweater Weather in that White Barn format this fall, and that one burned beautifully for me all the way down. But this one, I got some of those like puny wicks that Bath & Body Works likes to do or likes to have happen on a lot of their candles. I did get that at about like a third, you know, it usually happens for me a little bit after the halfway point, and that did happen on there. All right, let's talk about a perennial favorite. HOMEWORX' Harvest Leaves. I love this fragrance. Fragrance notes are spiced pumpkin, mandarin, cranberry, fir balsam, applewood. This one has a pour date from July 7th, 2023. I think I actually purchased this candle way back during the National Fragrance Week sale back in March. because last year's Harvest Leaves performed so well for me that I thought, okay, this is probably still the overstock from 2023, which it was. And since I knew that that one had performed well for me, I thought I want to keep that one in my collection because, like I said, this is a fragrance that I burn every fall. Burned well all the way down. This was a powerhouse, as it typically is for me. I would say it was a good solid 8. I like pairing this with Autumn Pumpkin from HOMEWORX. I would say that, like, if you could limit me to only like 5 fragrances from HOMEWORX every fall, this one and Autumn Pumpkin would probably be 2 out of those 5. I just love this scent so much. I don't know if it's still on the Slatkin & Co. website. I do believe that it might still be available in the luxe size. And if you are somebody who ever wanted to splurge on a luxe candle for the fall, I would highly recommend Harvest Leaves because this is just such a great fragrance that you can burn September all the way. I honestly think you could burn this fragrance all the way through late November if you're a seasonal burner like me, because it's got that cranberry base to it. But yeah, it's glorious. It is just one of my all-time favorite fragrances from HOMEWORX. I'm looking around here. What else do I have to show? Okay, here's one. You guys know that this was kind of a hate burn. Farmhouse Pumpkin and Spice. Fragrance notes on here are heirloom pumpkin, patchouli, and fall spices. So if you caught my dedicated review on this candle, you guys know that the reason why I purchased this candle was more so for review purposes. I know that this is a repackage of, I think it was called Spice Pumpkin and Patchouli. It was from a Neutral Blends collection in 2023. The reason I purchased this was because my husband liked this fragrance. I didn't care for it because it's very patchouli heavy to me, and sometimes I like patchouli, but in this fragrance, I don't love it. So I did burn it enough to do the dedicated review on it, and then I hate burned it the rest of the way. In fact, I think the last 2 burns, I just finished burning it outside. We do have a nice little like covered patio area in our backyard, and that is typically where we will host friends, you know, sometimes on the weekends in the evening. And so I would burn this candle outside because, again, it didn't really go with a ton of other fragrances in my house. I know a lot of people like this scent, but it's just more of a personal preference for me. I didn't really care for the patchouli scent, and of course it performed quite well for me because it wasn't a fragrance that I was enjoying. I always wonder, is it really performing well, or is it just that my nose is really sensitive to a scent that I don't like? You guys chime in. Do you guys ever have that experience? Before I get into more of these candles, I did just want to give a quick reminder to please hit the thumbs up button if you are enjoying this video, and if you like candle content and you're just coming across my channel for the first time. I do a lot of candle videos. I do dedicated reviews, empties, hauls, and a lot of stuff in between. So please consider hitting that subscribe button if you would like to stick around for more. All right, I have another HOMEWORX candle to talk about. This is Charred Apple Woods. This candle was sent to me in PR. Fragrance notes on this are Macintosh apple, orange peel, charred cedar, tobacco leaf. This had a pour date of May 7th, 2024. And this fragrance did perform quite well for me. I don't think it was exactly what I was hoping it would be. The charred note in here reminded me an awful lot of the charred fragrance that was part or is in the Fireside Christmas Tree. So if you happen to like how Harry has done that charred note, that is what is in this Charred Apple Woods. It was an apple fragrance with the char. I think I would have liked a little bit more of that charred note. I felt like this was more apple heavy with a little bit of char in the background. And since I tend to like some of those like smokier fragrances, I was hoping for a little bit more. But that being said, I did like this fragrance. Was it backup worthy for me? No. Was it unique enough that I felt like I needed a ton of it in my collection? Also no. But it did perform quite well for me. I have talked about how a lot of these HOMEWORX candles, you usually need to allocate 4 to 5 hours on the first burn to let them achieve a full wax pool. Don't worry about the wicks. The wicks might look a little bit puny on the first, maybe even sometimes second burn, but usually successive burns after that, the wicks do quite well for me. So I was happy to have received this one, but I didn't feel like it was worthy of a repurchase for me. I'm playing a little bit of candle Tetris here, trying to keep things organized so that way I'm not just, you know, throwing candles all over my living room. All right, another fragrance that I finished burning is Pumpkin Clove. This has fragrance notes of clove buds, ground cinnamon, a pinch of nutmeg, and fresh pumpkin. I did actually end up going in, and what candle did I exchange last week? I exchanged, I went in and I exchanged the pumpkin donut, pumpkin donut shop. If you guys caught my late September candle chat, I talked about how that fragrance to me smelled like stale Mickey beignets from Disneyland. I didn't like it. It was too heavy on the powdered sugar, and it had super puny wicks, like bizarre wicks from the get-go. I didn't like it. So I took it back in and I exchanged it for another pumpkin clove, because I do like clove fragrances. I like this scent. You can see it burned really cleanly for me all the way down. This is just such, again, a nice fragrance. I liked burning this with the warm and toasty. I feel like this is a versatile fragrance in my collection, and so I did go ahead and purchase another one of these, or exchange another one. Performance on this candle is quite solid for me. I would give it about a 7 in my open concept, but I finished that one up, and the lid was nice on this. I don't save the lids, but I did think that it was a nice little lid there. Another Kringle candle that I finished burning is the Kringle Candle Reserve Merlot fragrance. So this has fragrance notes of grape, berry, currant, sweet, and berry sugar. And I'm telling you guys, if you guys want a really strong fragrance, now this is a grape fragrance, but it's not grape Kool-Aid. This is really, really well done. I don't typically like grape fragrances, but there was something about this that I really, really enjoyed. It paired really nicely with the Country Candle Merlot vines. This also paired really nicely with, what's the HOMEWORX one that I'm almost done burning over there? It's Autumn Vineyard, I think. It pairs really nicely with those fragrances. And talk about a powerhouse. This candle was like a solid 9 from start to finish for me. Very, very strong candle. And the fragrance lingered in my home. So if you are somebody who likes a good, bold, robust grape fragrance, it's not boozy like you would think a fragrance that's named after like a type of wine would be. I didn't detect any booziness in it, but it's just a very bold and robust and rich fragrance. Then I would highly recommend this candle. It's not going to be a repurchase for me because, like I said, grape fragrances are hit or miss. It's not anything that I feel like I naturally gravitate toward, but I did enjoy it enough that I didn't want to declutter it out of my collection either. Speaking of another HOMEWORX candle that I had just talked about pairing earlier with Harvest Leaves is Autumn Pumpkin. Fragrance notes here are pumpkin, orange, cardamom, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg. I have a pour date on this candle of March 9th, 2024. And again, this one performed really, really well for me, you know, almost all the way down. I noticed with my HOMEWORX candles, sometimes they burn out a little bit when there's a little bit of wax left, and then some of them burn like all the way down that you're like, wow, I can see the glass on the bottom. There's just no more wax left. But this fragrance was, again, another solid performer for me. I would give it around between 7 and an 8 in my open concept. I did repurchase another one of these fragrances because, like I said, this is one of my favorites from HOMEWORX in the fall. And I do feel like it's versatile. It pairs nicely, not only with Harvest Leaves. Is there another one in here? Yes, I'm going to talk about the other one that it paired really nicely with in here, but really, really loved this fragrance. Let me turn this little crate around here. Oh, no, I don't need to. Okay, this is Kringle Candle. What is this? Spiced Apple. I had full intentions of doing a dedicated post-burn review on this, and I did not get around to doing that. Fragrance notes on Spiced Apple are spiced apple, cedarwood, cinnamon, green pear, musk, and tonka bean. And I think that this is a very appropriately named fragrance because this is a very spicy apple type of fragrance. I don't see myself repurchasing it again. It's very heavy on the spice with some apple in the background. It kind of, in some ways, it's a little bit more sophisticated, but like if you guys were a child in the 90s like me, do you guys remember our moms all had that like Glade apple spice bathroom spray? And while I don't say that that's the same fragrance, it doesn't smell as synthetic and fake. I do feel like spiced apple fragrances sometimes, to me, that I can make that association. And so that's why for me, like I said, I don't think that this is the same fragrance, but I think because I'm smelling really heavy spice with a bit of apple in the background, that's just like mentally I have that, that scent memory, I guess. And So I burned it all the way down, but it is not going to be a repurchase for me. I will also say that I feel like by late September, I'm usually getting tired of and over apple fragrances. I tend to go very apple heavy August and September, and I think maybe I was just feeling a little bit over it. This did have kind of some inconsistent burn performance for me, I will say. I don't know, when do I have a pour date on this one? Yeah, it's February 13th. I feel like this was still in the era when KRINGLE was doing a little bit of that like wick experimentation. I want to say it was like starting in like late 2023, early 2024. We saw it in the spring country lineup where we were just getting like those puny wicks, and some of the 3 wicks I noticed we were getting puny wicks in as well. And I did have that happen once with this candle, so I did have to pour out some of the wax to get it to correct itself. So that's the only thing you might want to be aware of if you're going to pick this up. KRINGLE has been running some 3-wick sales, I would say in the last, well, they've been running a lot of sales in the last month, but these 3 wicks, every once in a while, they put them on sale for like $12.95, and I think that that's an excellent price point. I prefer the KRINGLE 3-wick format, I would say the most, just because I can get through them a little bit quicker. That's just my own personal preferences as a reviewer. But yeah, that candle is not going to be a repurchase for me. Give me a moment. My cat wants to be let out, so I'm going to do that before she tears up the weather stripping on the door. Right back. Another HOMEWORX candle that I finished burning is one that I received in PR. This is Mummy Marshmallow. Fragrance notes on here are whipped frosting, candy corn, vanilla fluff, tonka bean. This had a pour date of May 8th, 2024. Now this one, I didn't necessarily give a very positive post-burn review on it, and it is because the first half of this candle's life was very, very light for me. I would say it was between like a 3 and a 4, which is disappointing because I really wanted to get a good, strong vanilla fragrance. I love this fragrance on cold. You get a little bit of that candy corn element in here. I don't know how they did that, but you do get some of it. However, upon burn, it's very, very similar to me as Bath & Body Works' Vanilla Bean. I really like that fragrance. It's kind of that like marshmallowy vanilla. We can all use some of those fragrances in our collection because I feel like they're great blending scents. They amplify a lot of other fragrances that we might already have, especially as if you are somebody who loves to burn gourmands. But I will tell you that strength and throw after about the halfway point on this candle did bump up to about a 6 for me. It still was not a powerhouse, but it was noticeable when I burned it in my bedroom. Out in the living room, it still got a little bit lost out here in the open concept, but I could burn it in bedrooms for the rest of its life, and it did do well in there. But because I just had such kind of low performance, I would say, from this fragrance, it's not going to be a repurchase for me. But I was very happy that they sent that candle to me because I was very intrigued when I saw that it was coming down the old pipeline there. And then another HOMEWORX fragrance that I finished burning that was not disappointing in its performance was Apple Pumpkin Pie. This one was also sent to me in PR. Fragrance notes of red apple, pumpkin, clove, and ginger. Pour date of May 7th, 2024. This one, I will tell you, was this one burned really hot. This one, and there's another candle that I'm going to talk about here. The wicks I was talking about, hold on a second, coughing fit. I'm dealing with some fall allergies. Even though our weather has not cooled down, it's still ridiculously hot. I have been spending 2 nights a week, sometimes 3, out at our soccer fields, and all of the grass and everything sometimes really starts to irritate my throat. But anyways, what I was going to say about this was that this candle, unlike a lot of the other HOMEWORX candles, from the outset had very strong, almost wild flames on this candle. It burned very, very hot. I don't know what it is in this particular fragrance oil blend that these wicks were just burning super hot. So that is the only thing that I would caution you. But this fragrance, I didn't detect a whole lot of pumpkin in here. And I think I remember when I did the dedicated review on this, in the more detailed fragrance notes listed on the Slatkin & Co website, they do list pear. And I felt like that was good because to my nose, this was more of like a pear and apple pie type of fragrance. I didn't get pumpkin. Did not really detect a whole lot of crust note. I would have liked to have had a little bit more of that. And for those reasons, it's not going to be a repurchase for me. However, if that fragrance sounds good to you, or maybe if you come across this candle out in the wild and you like it on cold sniff, I will tell you that this was a strong performer for me pretty much all the way down. Good solid 8.5, almost 9 in terms of strength and throw. Very, very strong performer. So it's not going to be a repurchase for me, but that one did do quite well. And then what do I have here? Another Bath & Body Works candle. This was a new one. Fall Apple Cider. We have fragrance notes of crisp red apple, caramel drizzle, and spiced cider. I remembered when this one was released on the website, I thought, oh, I hope this is Caramel Lane repackaged or Cider Lane repackaged. It was not. This fragrance, I will tell you, I liked it. After about the halfway point though, it started to get on my nerves. I was kind of like, there's something in here that I'm not liking. And I do think it is that the caramel note in here started to smell a little bit scorched and burned to me. I've talked about that with caramel fragrances, more so with Bath & Body Works and Kringle. My nose will pick up on that. HOMEWORX, I don't always detect a scorch note with the way that Harry does caramel, but the way that the other two brands do it, Bath & Body Works, for me, it's almost a little bit, it becomes a little bit too artificial smelling to me. And I did notice that about like the halfway point, it did do that. The good news is that this candle did burn quite cleanly. This was not a powerhouse for me. I would say it was between like a 6 and a 7 in terms of strength and throw, but it won't be a repurchase for me, but I was glad to have finished that up. We will talk about a candle that I did repurchase, and that is HOMEWORX's Haunted Apple Nights. I did do a dedicated review on this. Fragrance notes of crimson apple, blood orange, black vanilla, and blackberry. This had a pour date of May 8th, 2024. And I've always said that if you are somebody who really likes leaves from Bath & Body Works, while this is not a dupe, it is in that same fragrance family. So you would probably like this one if you like leaves. Maybe you want the more of like the HOMEWORX format. It's slightly more, I want to say slightly more fruity than leaves. It's toned down a little bit. You do detect the apple. What else? There's a little bit of blood orange in here. There's a little bit of sweetness and citrus, but you wouldn't really detect it as being like, oh, my nose is smelling a citrus candle. That's not at all what this is. I don't know, black vanilla, blackberry. I did do a dedicated post-burn review on this. This was actually really beautiful when it was lit up too. The ambiance on the packaging here was stunning. So I did end up repurchasing this candle because this was one of the most solid performing candles that I had. I know I was seeing in the Facebook group, some people were saying that they couldn't smell this at all. And I was a little bit surprised, to be honest. I mean, not negating what anybody's saying, but I gave this one a 9, and I've already relit the second one that I got, and that one's performing strong for me too. So I don't know. I mean, we do all have different home layouts, and I know that that can affect things sometimes too, or maybe humidity levels. But in my home here in Arizona, that candle performed quite well for me. But let's talk about one that didn't do so well for me. This is Apple Pie Cookie from HOMEWORX. Was this one PR? I feel like it might have been. Sometimes I get my PR mixed up with what I order in gratis. I've explained that before. As a Facebook moderator, HOMEWORX does allow me, they give me like a dollar amount that I can spend every once in a while to purchase some candles from the website, whereas PR is usually new fragrances that they give you, like, pick one of these to review, whereas the gratis money is just I can choose whatever I want. It could be fragrances that have been around for a while, and I don't really feel obligated to have to review them. Anyways, fragrance notes on this are warm baked apples, brown sugar, sweet vanilla cream, freshly ground cinnamon. Pour date on this was May 7th, 2024. And what I will tell you is that this fragrance, first and foremost, to me, it was just kind of like a generic apple pie scent. Didn't get I got a little bit of the cookie note in here, but what was really disappointing for me was that the performance on this was very pitiful. I want to say I gave this one maybe like a 3 in terms of strength and throw. I really could not smell it that much when it was burning. I definitely couldn't smell it out here in the open concept. Could barely smell it in a bedroom. It did amp up a little bit toward the end of its life, but not enough that I could recommend purchasing this candle. So that was a little bit disappointing. And then I have one more Bath & Body Works candle to talk about here. This was Cranberry and Gala apple. Fragrance notes of Gala apple, tart cranberry, pinch of cinnamon. I actually really liked this fragrance. However, you will see that there's quite a bit of wax left in this and the wicks are wonky. And why is that? Well, I did end up having to put this in my candle crock because the wicks dudded out on me halfway through. They got those super puny wicks, which then you can see that like there's a little bit of soot around the vessel here. It just started to alter the fragrance and I was like, I don't have time to put up with that. So I did put it in my candle crock. I really liked burning this alongside HOMEWORX's Harvest Leaves. I felt like that was a really nice fragrance combination, but because of the poor performance in terms of the wicks, which I think when I did a dedicated review almost from the outset of this one because this was giving me wick issues from the beginning. They kind of adjusted like the next couple of burns in, but then again, by the halfway point, the wicks were just not cooperating with me at all. So I decided, go ahead and crock it. So I like the fragrance, but I wouldn't repurchase this year's format just because I had so many issues with the wicks, which you guys, I was running into that a lot with a lot of these, you know, fall releases. I will say the ones that were like in this type of packaging, the wicks in this packaging did pretty well for me with all of the candles that I got, but it was kind of the Luminary collection. I had some issues with wicks. I don't know. It makes me a little bit hesitant about wanting to purchase some of the Christmas stuff coming out from Bath & Body Works. Will I? Yes, but it doesn't exactly have me excited because now I'm like, well, I don't know how that burn performance is going to be. All right, and finally, this is a fragrance that I had in the past, but I wanted it again. This is Farmstand Pumpkin from HOMEWORX. Fragrance notes of pumpkin puree, nutmeg, cinnamon stick, sugared tonka bean. Pour date on this one of July 7th, 2023. And this performed quite well for me. This is a good, basic in the best way, creamy, gourmand pumpkin scent. It's not too heavy on the spice, but it's just good and cozy. This is it has a lot of similarities. If you like Kringle Candle Reserve's Great Pumpkin, which did not make a return this year, that's a little bit heavier on like a toffee note in there. But this one, again, was just a nice blending candle. It was one that amped up pretty much all of the other fragrances that I had in my collection. I burned this with the Haunted Apple Nights. I can burn it with Warm and Toasty. I could burn it with a variety of fragrances, and it just amplified the fragrance all around my home. So this is a candle. I don't believe that this is still in stock on the Slatkin & Co website, but it is one that I would repurchase just because of the versatility and how much I enjoyed the fragrance, and the performance was quite good for me. I would give it, you know, between a 7 and an 8. So I think that is it in terms of all of the candles that I burned this month. I'm gonna tally it up. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, let's see, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 21. I think I have a total of 21 candles that I finished burning this month. So not too shabby, but I hope in the month of October that I will get back on track and be able to split this video into 2 so that way it is not so long for all of you. Like I said, stay tuned this weekend. I do plan to share with you a huge declutter. You guys are going to be clutching your pearls because I will be updating you on my candle collection and letting you guys know the fragrances. Over August and September, I got a little bit cutthroat with my collection and decided to declutter a lot of fragrances. So stay tuned this weekend if you are curious to see what did not make the cut. But until then, I'm pretty happy to have finished these up. I still have quite a few candles that are pretty close to being finished, so I will have more empties for you guys coming up in the month of October. Feel free to chime in down below if you finished burning any of these candles or any of these your perennial favorites. Feel free to share your burn experiences. My voice is only one of many here in the candle community. So this video is already very, very long. I do want to say thank you so very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.